What's up, you guys? How you guys doing? So sorry I'm late. You guys know I've been trying to get a lot of stuff out to y'all, but I'm trying to finish up watching the episode. And I probably could have fast forwarded through most of it. First of all, am I the only one that realized that stuff that was in the trailer wasn't on? We never saw on the show. Am I the only one that noticed that? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you noticed that stuff they put in the trailer we never saw. Because I was waiting to see Wendy read Nucka in her native tongue. Did y'all see that? We didn't even see that. And there was something else. There was a couple of things that was in the trailer that we never saw. I don't know why I'm putting all this lipstick on. I'm about to go to bed. You noticed that too? Thought it was just no. It was a couple of things. That's the most notable one. But there were a couple of things that I was like, wait a minute. Why we never saw that? We never saw that. And I know it happens from time to time, but it just seems to me like once you put the trailer out, you would think now maybe it's going to be on the Peacock version. But I don't feel like it should be. I feel like if that was the trailer you released, then that's what we should see. Anyway, so let me say this. We're going to get through these notes. I am going to drop the link. I'm not going to drop it long, you guys. I'm not going to drop it long because y'all know I'm tired. I'm just going to make it short, sweet, to the point. I'm tired. But I do want to have this conversation with you guys. And I did tell y'all I would give y'all an opportunity to come up, which I will do. But we ain't going to be here all night. But I love y'all. Okay? So first of all, let me get to my notes. Okay. So first of all, we start off where we left off. The big revelation that G wanted to tell us is that G has been diagnosed bipolar and that a lot of his behavior that we saw, he is attributing to him being manic. I'm going to be very sensitive in this conversation. I have thoughts, but I want to be very sensitive. One, it takes a lot, especially among the Black community, to come down and to acknowledge and address mental illness. So I just want to say that, okay? Two, it's just a sensitive subject. And the thing about mental illness is that it does not manifest itself the same way with everybody all the time. So when I say I have thoughts, I'm not saying that my thoughts are that he has not been diagnosed. That's not what I'm saying. So I don't want anybody to take away, Really B said he ain't even got it. That ain't what I said. And I'm not questioning his experience. I am interested in more information. But it does make sense. Some of the, like you said, some of the erratic behavior. He said the one thing that I did like to hear was that he said that things with his family is better. He said that was the reason why his family removed him as CEO because of the manic behavior. He said he was diagnosed about 2.5 years ago, and we do know that manic. I know from my experience that mental illness does not always manifest itself. There's no particular age for something to manifest, and also, you being diagnosed doesn't mean that you just got it. So G has probably been dealing with certain behaviors and writing it off as different things throughout the years. That would also explain why maybe when they were talking about his finances and maybe that's why he spent a lot. I do know that people who deal with bipolar, when they're manic, a lot of them do get into retail therapy and they buy big ticket items. I told you guys my best friend's mom, and she shared with us. We did a whole video where she shared about her mom's mental illness. Maybe her mama went out and bought a whole car. And first we were trying to figure out who the hell sold your mama a car, because her mother didn't even have a job. Now, how she walked into somebody's dealership and bought a brand new Toyota Camry, we will never figure that out. But I mean, literally, she bought a car, and we were sitting here like, the hell, So that I'm going to just say that. But here's where I just still have more questions, because again, I just got more questions. He said that they never lost their shares in the businesses. He just lost his position as CEO and the salary that came with being CEO. Right. SCK. Yeah. Thank you. That's what I was going to mention too. When she talked about him being depressed and how he just like for months she couldn't get him to do anything. So I mean, all of that tracks. So that's what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to walk away thinking that I'm saying he does not have it. That is not what I'm saying. But I do have questions. But he did say they dropped their lawsuit against the family. He said he can't really speak on the legal issues as it relates to the family. So it sounds like he is still in litigation with his family. But he said that he is in a much better place with his family. Yeah, so I'm gonna just leave that right there. Like I said, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But it does make sense now. Like after watching all 3 parts of this reunion, it makes sense why Mia got the first chair. I'm not saying that we believe everything that Mia said or that we are cool with everything that Mia said, but it makes sense why Mia got that first chair now. Does it not? Cheryl said, I'm sorry, but Mia comes up with a storyline every year since she has been here, and it's all a lie. I will say, I will give G some grace, but him as well stood by the miss in the past. I think you meant the mess in the past. Or maybe you meant the miss. I don't know. I agree. And that's why I just, Jennifer Lewis bought a house. She sure did during a manic episode. Absolutely. And with Jennifer Lewis, it manifested itself financially, but it also manifested her mental illness manifested itself sexually. She became addicted to sex. She talks about that in her book. If y'all have not read Jennifer Lewis's book, it's a really, really good book. Matter of fact, I don't recommend reading it. I recommend you listen to it on audio tape because she narrates it, and baby, it's a whole situation. Hey, Lance Blair. Hey, boo. So yeah, I'm gonna just be honest and say, in my opinion, that's just I believe. Let me say this and then I'm going to be done with it for real. I believe that G has been diagnosed with bipolar. Full stop. I believe that. I don't know if I believe everything that they're attributing to his mental illness was a part of his mental illness. That's the part I question. But again, I don't know these people. I don't live their life. So let me leave it at that. But that is what I believe. My belief is that I believe that he has been diagnosed with mental illness. I just don't know if I believe everything that is being attributed to his mental illness is a part of his mental illness. Okay. Moving forward. Then we get into Nneka's package. You know what I don't like? I don't like how we totally ignore how she talked to her husband crazy. Like, I don't like the fact that was never addressed. Like, we saw multiple moments this season where Nneka talked to her husband crazy. That's number one. I don't like that. Number two, I don't like the fact that we never addressed the fact that Nneka didn't know how many houses she owned and that she claimed that was what held up the sale of her house. I know that might sound like a minor detail to y'all, but when I'm watching these shows and I'm looking at this is the reunion and I'm like, Nneka, because and the point that I'm making is we spent so much time on this Wendy storyline that really fell flat because after 2 episodes we were all over it. Why did we explore anything else? I'm mad that we had a whole conversation about her IVF and her battle to have a baby, and nobody talked about the fact that her ass takes champagne with her vitamins with her husband sitting behind her. Why was none of that brought up? Why was none of that brought up? And again, I know it can be sensitive for a man to be asking a woman about her reproductive situation. I understand that. But why was that never brought up? Because first of all, I don't think it was funny, especially with you being married to a whole doctor. I don't think it was funny. I think, again, was it a cute little to kind of throw out there like, yes, honey, I wake up every morning with my glass of champagne. Sure, we get it. Your opulence and your bougie and like I get that. But now your storyline is that you're trying to have a baby and we're not addressing your lifestyle change. We're not addressing any of that. And I just feel like there were other things that we could talk to Nneka about other than Wendy. We didn't find out anything about her until she met her sister at the furniture store. Right, Cajun. And even with that, Nneka said she claims that she filmed multiple scenes with her family. I think she said she had a whole dinner at her house with her family and they were all there and they didn't show any of that. And I'm just like, even with her sister, like, why didn't y'all bring up any of that, Andy? Production? Why didn't y'all bring up anything about her family and the history with her family? Like, none of that comes up. Other than in relation to Wendy. None of that comes up. Even the point where I'm going to get to that in a second, but even the point where they get to the Osu conversation and her husband even said, it's taboo. We don't talk about it. So why do we not see a scene with your husband telling you, stand down, Nneka. You know how serious this is. You know how dangerous this is. Why are you even entertaining the conversation? See, Ashley doesn't know. Ashley is ignorant to it. And for once, I'm not. Nope. Let me put them words back in my mouth because that's not what I'm about to do. But Ashley did not know. But Nneka, you did. And when Ashley said the word Osu, you should have shut it down and said, oh, no, I'm not. We're not doing that. If it was so taboo to the point, did you see her husband? Like, Nneka's husband was like, oh, no, it's taboo. We don't speak on it. Like, he was very indignant. We don't speak on that. But it's funny to me how at the reunion, it was, oh, no, we don't speak on that. But you didn't shut your wife down. And if you did, we didn't see it. So you know how that goes, too. Well, they always show stuff out of season. Out of order. On these reality shows, they always show stuff out of order. It happens all the time. It's just sometimes they just do a better job of it not looking obvious. But yeah, they always show us stuff out of order. Hold on. I'm gonna try to get you guys a couple of comments as I'm going. Lon said, I know she's responding to Nikki. I noticed that too. It was weird, the line of questioning to Wendy attempting to hold her accountable for shady moments and his whole couch of women refusing to take any responsibility. I'm sick of all of them. Baby, first of all, so Cajun, I kind of disagree with what you said about the reunion. I think this was a good reunion considering the season that we had because it was a horrible season. I mean, the reunion was better. The 3 weeks of this reunion was better than the whole, how many episodes we have? 15 episodes of the show. And that's a sad state of affairs that the reunion was better than the show. However, I think part 1 was really good. I think part 2 was really good. I feel like they went back and edited part 3. It just feels like they changed their mind and they took some stuff out and they moved some stuff around. I don't know that to be true, but I feel like that because I just go back to the stuff that we didn't see in the trailer. The stuff that we saw that we didn't see in the trailer seems like it all belonged in part 3. That's what it sounds like to me. But let's get back to Nneka. I just felt like there was some other things we could have talked about. So then they talked about whether you know somebody versus not knowing somebody. So they had to break the fourth wall a little bit and clear that up. Wendy said when production reached out to her and asked her, do you know Nneka? She said, I don't know her. My opinion on that has not changed. Wendy, I think you know who that girl was. I think you don't like her. I think maybe you weren't interested in being her way on the show. But I think you knew who that girl was. And I understand there are layers. We had that conversation. Did we have a conversation last week when we were talking about layers to how you know somebody? There are layers to, we were talking about that with Love and Marriage DC. There are layers to how you know somebody, right? So knowing somebody versus being friends with somebody versus hanging out with somebody versus being cool with somebody. Like, if somebody came up to me and was like, and it happens all the time. Let's be clear. Y'all, let me tell y'all what happened to me on the plane today. Let me take a quick sidebar. Quick sidebar. Remember I told you guys last week when I was having my conversation, I did it, it's in members only now, but I did the conversation publicly, but then I put it on members only. When I was talking about my last name and how my last name in the area where I live, there are connections to it. Not saying that I'm connected, but if you saw the video, you know what I'm talking about. I'm on the plane today. Now I was sitting in the front of the plane. If you know what that means, you know what that means. I'm sitting in the front of the plane. The stewardess comes up to me, flight attendant, excuse me, comes up to me and she says my last name. She says, Mrs. So-and-so. I said, uh-huh. She said, are you a part of that family and you're from Maryland? No, she said, you're from Maryland. And I knew exactly what she was getting ready to say. Hey, busy. Did you get my text? I texted you the other day. She said, I knew where she was going. The minute she said my name, I knew what she was getting ready to ask me, right? She said, you from Maryland? I said, well, I'm DC. I'm born and raised in DC. Oh, well, are you a part of that family? I said, yes. Oh, well, I have some friends. Do you know so? And she starts naming people that I don't know these people. But do you see how easy it is for somebody to just be like, do you know somebody? Now, had she mentioned somebody that I knew was a part of my father's side of the family, I would have said, oh, that's my father's cousin, but I don't really know them that well. But I would have acknowledged that I knew who they were talking about. So, Wendy, I honestly feel like, I love you, Wendy girl. But I honestly feel like when production rolled up on you, I think you knew her and I think you didn't like her. Or you weren't interested in helping her become a part of the show. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. With that being said, we get into the whole conversation, obviously, about the NECA. Now, did y'all see how fast that? Did y'all pay attention to how fast Andy threw production under the bus, and then Ashley turned around and threw production under the bus? Did y'all pay attention to that? And what that says to me, the way they threw production under the bus, says to me that they, and when I say they, I'm talking about Bravo, did not realize how badly this storyline with NECA and Wendy was going to play out publicly. That doesn't mean, let me be clear before y'all start yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. That doesn't mean that they didn't know. Because the Osu conversation is not new, because that blog that they're talking about was posted Wendy's first season. So I'm not saying that they weren't aware of the taboo conversation of what Osu is. I'm saying, are you throwing tomatoes at me and tell you? What I'm saying is, I don't think they understood how bad it was going to play out publicly. The fact that Essence wrote a whole article about that storyline. Remember the article we went over here? That Essence wrote a whole article about that storyline. I don't think that they realized how badly it was going to play out. That's not to say they did not know it was a bad thing. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think, listen, y'all, you can tell somebody, oh, that's taboo in my culture. That's like for a Haitian person talking about voodoo, right? Because people, you know, the bad stereotypes about voodoo, people misconstrue what voodoo is. I can hear I think they probably put it on that level, like, oh, well, no, you know, we're not going to use that as a storyline. You know what? But people talk about voodoo. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. Now, I don't know that to be a fact, and I'm not saying that I'm right. I think, because baby Andy was quick to be like, we didn't know. And production, what did he say? Production didn't realize it until afterwards or something like that. I was like, Hey, Andrew, how you doing? I said, Wait a minute. Wendy filed a cease and desist. She couldn't have filed a cease and desist because if she filed a cease and desist, they wouldn't have talked about it on the reunion. And then when Wendy turned to Ashley about it, did you say Ashley? Ashley said, well, somebody told me. Who told you, Ashley? And I noticed how Andy didn't press you. Because again, Andy, you knew who put Ashley up to it. That's why you ain't pressed Ashley out to tell you who said it. Because if it was me, that would have been my question. I'd have been like, well, who told you? When you said somebody brought it to my attention, who brought it to your attention? Who told you to ask NECA about that article that was 2 years old? Because again, please be clear, that blog, that wasn't all about the tea. That came out after Wendy's first season. I remember when it came out because I talked about it. And that came out after Wendy's first season. So again, this isn't some new information. And actually, if you were really concerned about it and it was really a question that you honestly had, you could have asked Wendy last season. You could have went to Wendy last season and asked her about that. And y'all could have probably had a conversation. And Wendy would have she probably still would have been shady about it. But Wendy would have been like, well, that's very taboo. We don't speak on it. It's not an accurate depiction, whatever. But if you was really so concerned, Miss Ashley, that's a question you should have asked Wendy. And you've had ample opportunity to ask Wendy because that article came out and you had a whole 2 seasons to film with Wendy and have that conversation with her. No, all about the tea stole that story. That's fine. She may have stolen it, but it's still 2 years old. I don't know where they originally came out, but it's still 2 years old. You see what I'm saying? It didn't come out right before they started filming. That article came out. I saw it in All About the Tea. So if All About the Tea stole it, that means it came out even before I saw it. You understand what I'm saying? Ashley, Giselle. And then Giselle, bitch, let me tell you something. Y'all know I be trying not to call these people out their name. But when Giselle's bitch ass sat over on that couch and gonna say to Robin, is it really that bad? It's really that bad? Even if you did not know why y'all were filming, you knew about a reunion. Even if you did not know while y'all were filming, which is bullshit, I believe you did. But even if you did not know while y'all were filming, you knew by the time y'all filmed the reunion how bad it was. So for you to sit over there and be like, is it really that bad? Bitch, yes, it is. People get killed over this. People lose their lives. Families lose loved ones over this. Yes, it's that serious. Right. That's why Wendy told them they don't have a range. They don't want to have a range. Because you notice how everybody else shut the hell up. Ain't nobody else had nothing else to say. They was listening. Your ass over there. Is it really that bad? Yes, it's that bad. All right, you guys, it's 276. Thank you. This is my 3rd time live. Normally, the notifications don't go out. So if you haven't already done so, if you can hit the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. And donations are not required, but they are accepted and they are appreciated. And my affiliate link, you guys will see some stuff. Now you can get rid of that off your screen. You can just hit those 3 little dots, but you got to put some Juvia's Place up there. If you shop with me, that's another way you can support the channel. For those of you that always ask about my lipstick and my lip gloss and all that, baby, it is Juvia's Place. 90% of the time, it is Juvia's Place. Okay, so this is Juvia's Place right now. And I think too, I have a lip gloss up there and a matte lipstick that I have worn that you guys have seen me wear up there. Okay. So I wrote here production, didn't know. Andy threw production under the bus. Yeah, I wrote that in my notes, child. Wendy said that her and NECA can coexist. That's the best y'all gonna get right now. Now, by the end of next season, Wendy and NECA might be best friends, child, frolicking in the damn dandelion lily fields, having afternoon tea with their kids. I don't know. But for right now, Wendy said the best I can give you is that I can, basically what Wendy said is I can show up and do my job. That's what Wendy said. Man, I can show up and I can do my job, Andy. That's it. That's all. I'm not inviting her over to the family barbecue. She's not coming to Easter dinner. But I can show up and I can do my job. That's what he said. I mean, that's what she said. Okay. Then Miss K came out. Now, I've been calling her KK, but she said she preferred K. So K came out. They did Wendy's package, the whole YouTube thing. She said she's going to stop teaching. She said YouTube was harder than she thought. Did y'all hear what Wendy said? It was harder than she thought. Y'all keep coming down here thinking this YouTube streets is easy. Y'all keep thinking y'all got a name. Thinking y'all got a name and all y'all got to do is hit that button and then everybody going to come flocking. It's a whole lot to this algorithm. It's a whole lot to this algorithm. You got to be consistent. You got to come down here with the stuff people want to hear. Okay, Wendy? I'm rooting for you though, girl. But I'm glad that she said it was harder than she thought it was. She said that you can still buy them candles. That business ain't gone nowhere. You can still buy the books. Okay, she just changed it up. But she still got the stuff there. She didn't shut down no website. Okay. And that's a prime example of why everyone who is privy to Nigerian culture was disgusted by the way NECA handled the situation, because I left it up to interpretation for the ignorant folks. I know that's right, Italia. Thank you, my love. I don't know. KJ, you so shady. KJ said who watching it. I don't know who watching it, but you go on over there and give her a like and subscribe. I'm subscribed to her channel. I don't be getting the notifications, but I am subscribed. Wendy needs management with YouTube. No, she doesn't. Let me tell you something. Well, let me not say she doesn't. She could use it. Let's be clear. She absolutely could use it. But let me erase that. YS. Let me erase that. You're right. Yeah, she could. Yeah, because we could all. I mean, hell, I need some management. So yeah, she could. But what I'm saying though is there are a lot of things that Wendy can do without paying somebody to do it. You know what I mean? There's certain things that Wendy, like for example, Wendy. I don't think Wendy is maximizing her social media as it relates to her YouTube channel. Like I said, I don't get her notifications. I don't know why I'm not getting her notifications, but I'm not. I know I'm subscribed. I subscribed when I first found out she had a YouTube channel. Right. The biggest thing is she needs to be consistent. Exactly, Italia. Exactly. But she said she's going to stop teaching after this semester because she wants to be a more at-home mom and a more present mom for her kids. And that's another reason why YouTube would be a good thing. You can do that from home. Like her having that whole studio. I mean, I'm sure some of that was done for the purposes of production for her and being her storyline. But Wendy, you don't need all of that. Like you have that really nice house that I'm sure there's a room in that house that y'all are not using. Or at least that y'all aren't using, that you're using in a different way. Wendy, I'm sure where's your office? When you used to go and do your MSNBC from your office, all you have to do is redecorate that office. You can take that same studio feel and put it in that room. Take the desk out, take the bookshelves out, put them somewhere else in the house, and put the comfy couch and have the setup with the lighting and all of that. You can do the exact same thing in your house. You do not have to pay for a studio, especially if you're not going to be recording on a regular basis. Now, if you're going to start putting out content regularly, then yeah, you could go back to renting out a space. But as of right now, you do not need to rent a space. Like you really don't. Now, I would say this to you though, Wendy. Somebody tell Wendy I said this now. If you do want to continue to rent out a space, you need to find other content creators and you can use it as a shared space. If you're not going to be there every day, create a co-op situation where, you say, listen, I have this space, but I'm only using it on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Saturdays and Sundays, it's available. And other people in the area that do content creation, boom, bring them in. Let them use your space. She might not want everyone in her home knowing where she lives. And unfortunately, Wendy got robbed while she was on vacation too. I'm sorry to hear that. Whenever somebody gets robbed, I hate hearing it because it is a violation. Like, it is a violation that somebody not only came into your personal space, but felt like they had a right or they were entitled to take something that you worked hard for. Like, I feel really bad for that, because she ain't gonna never get that shit back unless it was an inside job. She ain't getting that shit back. The people might go to jail. They might be able to catch the people, but she ain't getting that shit back. And she said they stole purses and jewelry. Child, she ain't getting that shit back. Let me see. Somebody just said something that I wanted to address. Oh, about people in her house. Here's the thing. And that's why I said if she wants to keep that space for when she has in-person guests, then sure. But again, if you're going to keep the space, either A, you need to start using it so that you're getting your money's worth, or B, you need to find a co-op of creators that will share that space with you. And the thing is this, the only time she said they took all the fake ones. Oh, well then, there it is. So the thing is this though. Excuse me. When she has in-person guests, that's fine. Because again, you're right. You don't want everybody coming to your home. But when you're just doing something through a Zoom or through a StreamYard, or if you're just going to do a show about, just talking about whatever you want to talk about. I think Wendy is missing, and I understand she may not want her channel to be like what Dr. Heavenly does, but I think that Wendy has missed a golden opportunity on building up her YouTube channel over the last couple of weeks. Like, if nothing else, talk about the reunion. Let me tell you something. I would have interviewed Candace. The minute her and Candace seem like they are building a genuine friendship. So I feel like she knew Candace was leaving the show before we knew Candace was leaving the show. That would have been, do you know how Wendy Acefo would have broken YouTube had she gotten Candace's announcement in her first interview? Has she been able to get Candace to sit down with her and do a 30-minute interview, making her announcement and explaining her reasons? Wendy could have came down here and talked to Karen. She could have done an interview with KK about the altercation. Even if she don't want to mess with the Giselle and the Robins of the world, right? You could have talked to Mia. Hell, maybe you and Mia could have even sat down and had this is where we were last year. This is what we've been through. Let's work through. Like, I understand that she probably doesn't want her channel to become about the Real Housewives of Potomac. But if you're talking about building up a channel and putting content that people want to see, you can mix it up. Like, you can mix up the other things you want to talk about. But, I mean, you had the Jasmine brand as one of your guests on that inaugural show. The Jasmine brand is a whole media guru, right? Social media guru. That's also one of her sorors. Why not tap into what the Jasmine brand can do for you as far as helping you build up your channel? I do think Wendy's missing out on some opportunities if she's serious about building up her channel. I think Wendy could have a really great YouTube channel. I really think she could. But you're right. You're right, YS. I think she would benefit from having a social media brand, somebody that can splice up her videos, put clips on TikTok, put clips on Instagram, that can do the tweets and the hashtags and all that. Like, because that's something, I'm be honest with you. If I could afford that right now, I would. I just don't have the time. I don't have the skill set. And I damn sure don't have the money to pay somebody to do it for me. But anyway, moving on, child. I done spent way too much money on that stuff, child. Moving on. So everybody can't be a content creator. You're right. Everybody think it's easy. But you see these celebrities that come down here and they don't last, child. They don't last, honey. because it ain't easy. I picked up my phone instead of picking up my notes. I like that you don't heavily edit your videos. Child, I ain't no good editor. Editing is tedious work. Y'all don't think people understand how hard editing is. Editing is tedious. All right, so then we get to Ashley and her. Listen, Ashley said that her and Michael are on a toxic cycle, that 1 minute they're good, and when things are good, she allows herself to be in that space where things are good, and then they're not good. She said when they were filming the show, things were horrible. Her and Michael were not in a good place. And then after the show was over, her and Michael were in a great place. Everything was good. And now they're back to not being in a good place anymore. I promise y'all, I just don't care no more. Now, Andy did call Ashley out and say, well, you know, people are saying that it's just a storyline for the show, that you and Michael aren't really getting divorced, that it's just for the show. And baby, Ashley had to hesitate on that one, honey. Did you see how Ashley hesitated on that one? But she said that she is actually ready to move forward, and she actually filed some sort of petition. So here's the thing. I know divorces look different for everybody in every state, city, country, county, whatever. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have no idea what the issue is, because if she said on the show that she had the paperwork and that it was just a matter of her signing, but she just couldn't bring herself to sign it. Now she said she had to file some sort of injunction to speed up the divorce because Michael was acting up. Then she said that she was holding out for a big settlement, that they haven't been able to agree on the financial. So that's where I'm confusion. How did you have the divorce papers and you was ready to sign them if y'all never finished agreeing on everything that needs to go in the divorce? And why do you have to file an injunction to get him to speed up the process if you have the paperwork and it's on you? Well, did you sign it? When did you sign it? When did you? Shout out to my daughter who's about to graduate with a degree in multimedia journalism. She's a great content creator. Anyone needs help in that area. Well, hey, Miss Cookie Ray, send your daughter's information to my inbox, down to the Instagram. Let me check her out because I do need help, child. She's styling. It's the BS documents. Yeah, child. Then you saw her slip up talk about something. She still loves Michael. She rubs his feet every night. And when everybody was like, "You rub his feet, you rub his feet," she was like, "Oh, I used to." Nah, you know, ain't no ED on that. Ain't no rub. You rub. Cajun, really, we don't make no $2,000 a week. I wish if I made $2,000 a week, you're right. I could afford to pay somebody. I promise you. Anyway. So then they got onto the altercation. And let me tell you how sick. Listen, I'm so sick of Giselle. I'm sick of Robin. Did you see Robin sitting there with that smirk on her face when Candace right, she said rub, and it wasn't until they said something that she backed it up. So they talk about the altercation. KK talked about what happened. What up, Deb? Hey, boo. Tell your wife I said what's up. I need to give her a call. And I ain't mean to call you boo like that. You know, I ain't trying to disrespect nobody. I ain't mean boo like that. You know, I call everybody boo. Okay. So KK explained what had happened. As far as I'm concerned, that should have been the end of the conversation. KK said Deborah showed up on that kind of energy. She came over to where they were, which confirmed Candace's story that she came into their personal space where they were minding their business, dancing and enjoying themselves, and that she showed up with that kind of energy. Even Mia confirmed the story, even though Mia tried to twist it and make it seem like Candace could have handled it differently and it would have gone. I know K, not KK, but I've been calling her KK all season, child. I'm like, so even Mia confirmed that the girl showed up on 20 and that she even got in Mia's face, although we can't believe everything that Mia say. But let's just assume she's telling the truth this time. I was just like, I don't understand what else y'all want from these people. Like, let's be clear. I think with Deborah, We have to start from the beginning and work our way forward. This woman lied on my husband. This woman was a part of a conspiracy to make my husband look like a pervert and borderline sexual deviant. She was proven to be a liar. She trolled me and stalked me on social media for months. And now I'm in a place with her where we are together and she walks up in my personal space. I'm not bothering her. I'm not addressing her. I'm not acknowledging her. But I look up and now she is in my face. And y'all want me to think rational in that moment. And y'all want me to be like, okay, well, if I'm really nice to her, then maybe she'll go away. Because that's essentially what Mia said. I'm just like, I don't understand what y'all wanted from Candace in that moment. And y'all know I don't even be defending Candace like that. But in that moment, I'm with Candace. Like, what y'all want from her? What do y'all want from this woman? So she picked up the bottle for the girl to get out of her face. Now, do I think Candace was actually going to hit that girl with that bottle? No, I don't. I really don't. But for y'all to be like, well, you shouldn't have called her out of her name. Your words can sometimes blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't have called her out of her name. You shouldn't have. So because she called that woman a varmint and somebody come and take the help, that constituted getting a drink thrown at her and a glass and Karna's head getting busted open. Like I don't understand why there was no pushback. And did it go over everybody's head that Ashley admitted that she brought that girl there to talk to Candace? Did y'all hear that? Did that go over everybody's head? Ashley said, well, Deborah wanted to talk to Candace. She wanted to clear the air because she said that she didn't think she would ever have an opportunity to sit down and talk to Candace. Did y'all not hear her say that? So she admitted that she brought her there for her to talk to Candace, which is what Candace said you did. Right, Candace did it last year too. And then Mia talking about, yeah, you just can't do that. Girl, says the woman who threw a whole drink on Wendy and tried to beat Wendy up with her purse. But security had to hold her back. Girl, bye. And then Robin over there smirking. I said, I'm sick of all of y'all at this point. And then Giselle talking about something, well, I blame all of y'all. I'm sorry, what? The minute Deborah walked her happy ass across wherever she had to walk across to get to Candace, she was wrong. The minute she initiated the contact, she was wrong. Full stop. Like, I don't know what anybody else wants. And for before somebody go back and pull the tape of what I said about Candace with the Monique fight, I want you, if you're gonna quote me, I want to make sure you quote me right, because I know people real quick to be like, well, really, B, you said that Candace's mouth, that she was, let me be clear what I said, because I want to make sure y'all hear me. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying, okay? Y'all ready? What I said when it came to the fight with Monique and Candace, what I said was Monique was wrong for hitting Candace. However, I understood why she did it. That's what I said. So if y'all want to go back and go through the Rolodex, make sure you quote me right. I never said that Ashley's words were a justification. I said I understood. And I still do. I still understand why Candace's words will push Monique. But I still stand that Monique was wrong for doing it. Monique was wrong for giving in, and Monique was wrong for putting her hands on that girl. She was wrong. And I ain't going to change on that. But I understood. Dad said the lights don't look right. Cookie Monster was looking for a moment, and Candy gave her nothing when she got aggressive. That's on her. Exactly, Jamil. Exactly. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, well, see, the problem is people, and I'm not saying you, Phil. I'm saying in general. Back when season 5 was happening, all people heard me say was, "I understand why Monique did it." Nobody ever wants to acknowledge that I said Monique was wrong. Nobody ever wants to acknowledge that I said Monique was wrong. Monique was wrong. Monique should have never gotten physical. Period. Full stop. But just like I understand why Candace was about to bop DeBoer over her head when all DeBoer did was talk, I understood why Monique wanted to bop Candace over her head. I did. Now, am I right? That doesn't mean that I'm right. That just means I understood. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going back to season 5, Phil. I'm not. I'm just telling you. The only reason why I even brought it up is because I already know that some people are going to go back and say, well, really, D, you said, but that's not what I said. And again, I ain't about to sit here and debate season 5. I promise y'all I'm not going back to season 5. I ain't doing it. Moving forward. But I don't know how anybody can look at that footage and come up with Wendy was wrong and come up with Candace was wrong. I don't understand how you can look at that footage and be like, I think everybody was wrong. Hey, Natalia, 4 different people told Deborah to go away. She decided to be slick and try to throw a drink on her and hit Kay in the process. She got towed up. Yeah, and she should have. Yeah, and listen, I understand that y'all don't agree, and that's fine. But like I said, I am not rehashing season 5. We left it there. We debated, we disagreed, and we have moved on. You know, yeah. I don't see where Candace and Wendy was like, "How I get in it?" She was giving us a portion. How I get in it? Now I'm going to drop this link. I'm getting ready to drop this link, and when y'all come up here, I'm gonna tell y'all about this boycott, the Real Housewives of Potomac situation. While I'm waiting for y'all to come up, this boycott, the Real Housewives of Potomac situation, and that was Nene. How I get in? My bad. That was Nene, and this Monique thing. So Monique did an interview recently to just kind of let people know what was going on and give everybody the update on her world or whatever. And in the process of this interview, Monique spoke on her last reunion, which was the season 5 reunion. And she once again brought up how they edited so much out that protected Giselle. They didn't show when Giselle had her whole meltdown. They didn't talk about when Giselle cussed at Chris and cussed Chris out. And she said that was when she made her decision, like, yeah, I'm not doing this because they're gonna always protect her. Like, they're gonna always find a space and find a way to protect Giselle. And I'm no longer interested in being in an environment that is toxic for me. And I can respect that. But what I can't respect is that for the people who acted like this was new information. Monique been telling us that. Monique been telling us that since season 5. But because people were so intent on being mad at Monique, and for the people who don't like Monique, nobody wanted to hear that. And when I say nobody, obviously I don't mean every single person in the world. But people didn't want to hear that because they didn't like Monique. So they found the justification for the Monique-isms of it all. You understand what I'm saying? And so you didn't like Monique, so you didn't care what Monique had to say. But now, fast forward, that we're seeing this again, and it's becoming more evident and more glaring. And because more people like Candace, now all of a sudden it's Monique been said. And I tried to tell y'all, but see, y'all be thinking I don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't be, when I say y'all, I mean y'all. I see you, Phil. I'm about to bring you up. Phil, is that you?
It's me.
All right. What you want to say, boo? What you want to say?
Now, I'm one of those people, but we ain't going to go there tonight, like you said. But I can respect you clarifying. My thing with this whole boycott, you can't boycott because you mad at what Giselle said. But you said the same thing that, I'm for the fans who say, Well, Candace started the fight in season 5. Well, Giselle said she started the fight tonight. So what's the big deal? In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Also, I think that Deborah is definitely
All
wrong.
right, I see you, Gabby. Turn your camera
Deborah
off. Go ahead and turn your camera off, babe. Okay, there you go. Go ahead, Phil.
Deborah is definitely wrong because she shouldn't have approached Candace. She should have never poured the drink. Kiana did mush the F out of Deborah. And then the other friend pulled Kiana down, but Jacqueline like pushed them and made them fall on the floor. So I just think it's a lot. I think the whole boycott thing is just too much because for me, like I said before, if you blamed her for the fight and the altercation for season 5, why are you mad that Giselle is blaming her for the same thing? And they're both wrong. Candace did nothing. Both situations, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, Candace was innocent. People wanted to start with her.
So, I hear what you're saying. I'm not one of those people. Again, people heard what they wanted to hear because I wasn't saying what they wanted me to say. I never blamed Candace for the fight. Again, Monique got physical first. Monique was wrong. Period. That's my opinion. But I understand. I just understand why Monique lost it. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that it's right either. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, but I understand. I see the point you're making. Hey, Gabby, what you want to say, babe?
Hey, I'm new to this whole RHOP thing, but I did watch the reunion because everybody's commentary made it seem like it was interesting. Um, when you went live earlier, I was on episode 3, so they had showed episode 2, and the part that I caught it on was when Robin and Candace, I think, was arguing. But my whole thing is with Candace, um, why she didn't cuss Robin out? Because Robin is coming for this girl's. What I guess they was talking about her coming for Candace's husband. And my whole thing is, Robin, where's yours? You're married to a whole man who don't like you,
Whoop.
and that's very clear. That is very clear.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to watch the whole season to know what the heck was going on throughout the season.
But that's what I said. I said that last week. I said it's nowhere in the world that I would have acknowledged Robin in any way, shape, or form when she questioned my husband about anything. When her husband had a whole cheating scandal and wouldn't even show up. There's no way in hell. I would never. And I said that last week. I said it the week before last. I would never. And I would have even said it. I would have said I will answer anybody else's question up here except for the person whose husband did not show up when he had his own questions to answer. And I would even let Giselle ask me a question before I would have let Robin.
Then she kept talking about her husband's Candace's husband's lip penis. My thing would have been like, girl, and how many coup de trois has your husband been in?
Right. And that was clearly a dig, like that was unnecessary. First of all, the woman, if that had been anybody else, if that had been Mia, if that had been Ashley, right? They would have found excuses because they cool with them people. They would have found excuses to be like, well, the girl came back and said it's not true. So she has no credibility. We can't believe anything she's saying. But because it's Candace, you want to totally disregard the fact that the woman came out and said she lied about everything. And then they said, well, she came back and said that she didn't lie. Well, how many times does somebody get to change their story before you say, okay, they're not credible?
But then their whole thing is with her and Giselle. Their whole thing is, well, how are we being colorist? Prime example. Y'all just basically tried to make up a whole nother lie about this girl. Who knows where she came from? To be honest, I think Robin had something to do with it, with the girl coming out saying she did whatever with Chris. But yeah, that's prime example of what everybody is talking about. But then for what's her name? Robin to start crying when they started talking about the whole colorism things, and she was like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable." I wonder why.
Mm-mm.
And I know that that's a touchy subject for you, so I'm gonna just move on. And another thing before I go,
I mean, the platform is
another
open for
thing,
you to say what you want to say, baby. You say what you say how you
and
feel.
another thing is, did y'all see Robin's face when they was talking about the whole fight and Ashley? I don't know what Ashley said, but she said, "Well, somebody told me." And did you see Robin's face? Like, shut up,
Yeah,
girl.
that daggone, yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody told you. Mm-hmm.
By the looks of Robin's face, she told you.
I don't know who it was, but I know whoever it was, they didn't want her to repeat it, child. You right. And even when she said, but I guess she said, I ain't going down on this one by myself.
Right,
Somebody told me. She was quick to be like,
right,
somebody told me. Okay.
right. I think that I feel like because everybody's commentary and they all say the same thing is this whole season was trash, and you could you could tell the divide from the reunion. And I'm only going off of based off of what I saw, which is part one, two, and three of the reunion. And yeah, it just like you could tell that nobody gets along. Nobody gets along. And I feel like Andy needs another host. Maybe he needs another host to hold all of the girls responsible for their actions. Everybody needs to be held accountable for
Yeah, I
things that
think
they say, things they do,
I
you
agree.
know.
I agree. I agree. I think this production company is terrible. I think they definitely need a new production company. And I mean, I agree. Um, I don't put as much on Andy as some people do, but I do feel like the production company holds a lot, in my opinion, a lot of the blame. Somebody in the chat said, y'all keep saying that a boycott's not gonna work, and it's not. I'm gonna talk about the boycott in a second. Phil, did you have something else you wanted to add, boo?
Yes. In my opinion, just my one man's opinion alone, I appreciate your story about your colorism, because I live in DC and I have heard that story before, and I was so glad that you shared and was so honest with it in your feelings. I definitely appreciated that from you, really be. Um,
Thank you. I still have people in my comments even after I told the story that still didn't understand what I was saying. They were like, "Well, you telling that story is like a black." They still compare me to a white person. You telling that story is like a white person saying that they've experienced discrimination. I don't even know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
so I think if they lived in the DC area and they knew the back, like if they understood how it is in the culture of the city, because I had to say what's her last name, and then I was like, oh, that's her last name. Okay, I've heard it before. I think they may not understand because they don't live in the DC area.
No, they don't understand because they don't want to understand. Because what people don't understand is that our melanin comes in all different shades, and so the story I was explaining, or what I was trying to get people to understand, is people saying that I don't understand colorism simply because they look at my complexion. I was trying to explain to them that colorism comes on all levels, regardless of how light you might think I am. There's
Hmm.
another there are layers to this. That's all I was saying. That doesn't mean that I understand what it feels like for someone who is darker than me. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when people look at me and just assume that I don't have an experience, I was just trying to get people to understand I do have that
Yes,
experience. Now it doesn't
most
look the same as
definitely.
somebody else's experience, but it doesn't negate that I have an experience. That's all I was trying to get people to
Right,
understand.
and you did an absolute wonderful job. My last comment is Mia be lying. I don't believe her and Gordon. It's just I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. As a mental health advocate practitioner, I don't believe this story at all. I cannot. I don't trust anything Mia says. You know who really irritates me is Carlos King, who be trying to say Mia is the future. Mia lies. You can't trust what she says. She lies. I don't trust her and Gordon at all. So now, so they lied tonight, and it just came to me. Y'all said he only lost his position. So why did y'all have to move out of that house? Because y'all said he lost the money before. See, they're just liars. I can't. I cannot with Mia and Gordon. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Taya.
Yes.
Okay, you can turn.
That is
Okay,
crazy.
you're good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't, there's certain things that I don't ever want to just tell somebody that's not their experience. You are in that field, so you have a different perspective, right? But I do still have questions. I don't think it explains everything that has happened. I don't think that just totally negates everything that has happened with. And I do think Mia's a liar. But when we keep hearing Carlos talk about she's the future, she's the future, she's the future, does that not now give you a view into what's important to Carlos when it comes to producing reality TV? The fact that this woman has constantly lied in our face time and time again. I mean, easy lies that have been easily debunked. And the fact that she has straight up told these lies when you have somebody like a Carlos King who calls himself the king of reality TV, has now said that he's okay with that person being the face of a franchise for him. That should let you guys know right there.
Well,
He's okay.
since he over here saying that Mia is the future, look at what he lets Tisha and Marcel get away with over there at Love and Marriage Huntsville.
Not too much on my Tisha. Not too much on my
I'm
Tisha.
not. Listen, I don't even do it. Taya, hey boo, welcome to the panel. What you want to say, baby?
I wanted to kind of piggyback. I'm glad someone said it because unfortunately, because Mia be lying so much is why I totally questioned the Gordon's coming out speech as well. I think it's I feel like it's a ploy. And something else was I don't know if y'all noticed when Robin and Giselle was on the couch next to Nika, and they was talking about when they were on a vacation, and Wendy had made the comment about wanting her own room, and she wasn't rooming with Kiana or whatever, Kay. Giselle and Robin was both saying, well, she didn't even know what the room situation was, or that was before or after. They was debating that, and Nneka has said, we didn't we? And then they tapped her and was like, no, we didn't. So they was trying to, no matter how it was said, they was trying to make Wendy look bad, period.
Right.
And then the other part was when Nneka had made the comment, when they was talking about the Osu stuff, nobody noticed that Nneka literally resurfaced the same similar type of statement that Wendy made when they was talking about colorists.
Mm-hmm. Because they kept saying that word, and I was like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" Like, they just kept saying, "Oh, it's taboo, it's taboo," and even her husband was like, "Yeah, no, we not gonna talk about that."
But I'm talking about when Wendy when they was talking about the colorists. I think it was like in the first episode of the reunion, and Wendy had read them and was like, "I don't think no one has like basically the intellect to have this."
Yeah.
So now we fast forward to this third episode when they was talking about Osu. Nneka made the similar type of statement. Like, so did you just basically repeat Wendy's, not speech, but basically you just refurbished Wendy's statement?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, probably. Listen, at the end of the day, again, I understood, and I didn't. When I say I understood, but I didn't understand all at the same time. No, I didn't. I have not studied Nigerian culture to understand what that means and how deep it is. But I understood to the point where I understood it enough to know that that's not something that should be used as a plot twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think, I think this show has jumped the shark. I think a lot of reality shows have jumped the shark, but I definitely think the Real Housewives of Potomac has jumped the shark. And I don't know how we come back, because they've pushed that envelope. I mean, how do we go back to just shading people over their fake bags and their, like, how do we go back to the silly stuff when y'all have made it so dark? But the one thing they're gonna have to figure out a way. That's the one thing Wendy did say. Wendy was like, "Oh, we can work together. Like, I'll show up and do my job. We ain't friends, but I'll show up and do my job." And that's the one thing that Candace and Giselle could not do. That's the one thing that Robin, she sort of did it a little bit, but Candace leaving, I think, helped the producers to make a decision that needed to be made. And Robin getting fired, I think, was, if that's true, I think that was the coward's way out, because I really feel like it should be Robin and Giselle.
And then the other part that I wanted to, and then the other part that I wanted to bring up was when Wendy was, in my opinion, when Wendy was saying, "I don't know her." I mean, to me, if your employer is just like, "Hey, do you know this person?" I might have seen you around town, but like, if my employer, it depends on who's asked. If my employer asks, "Do you know this person?" I might know of them, but like, I'm taking it like they was asking her, like, "You vouch for her?" And she said no.
When it comes to that, I feel like she did know her, but like in passing.
I think she
Type
knew
of
her.
thing.
I don't think they were friends. I don't think they've had more than a passing conversation. But I do believe Nneka when she says we have been in spaces together. I
Well, they
believe
showed a video of that.
Yeah, I believe that. But again, I think that for whatever Wendy's reasons were, whether she doesn't like Nneka or has heard things about Nneka, for whatever her reasons were, she did not want to be connected to Wendy. I mean, Wendy did not want to be connected to her coming on the show. I don't know what her reasons were. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
But honestly,
she
I think that's what it boiled down to. That's my opinion. I don't know that to be a fact, but that's my opinion. Right, like Karen knowing Wendy, right? Isn't that the same thing Karen did to Wendy? Like, it's deja vu. You're right, Atalia. Thank you. I forgot all about that. That's exactly what Karen did to Wendy. Remember? And Wendy was like, "Girl, we have been on boards together. What you mean you don't know me?"
Right.
Same thing. It's the same thing. So no problem, Phil. Running the office. It is 10:30 at night, Phil. If you don't take your tail home,
Ooh-wee.
I'm gonna say this. They both admitted to having one conversation, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that they were best friends. And let's be clear. I think some of that falls on production and not on Nneka, because that's the same thing that we've seen that happen on other shows where people say, "Hey, I know so and so," and I'm not going to say that Nneka did this, but they say, "I know so and so," because they are trying to get on the show, and when production goes to that person, they're like, "I don't know them," or I might have met them once or twice. So I think that happens with production a lot, where they try to create a connection because somebody was in the same room with somebody for 5 minutes. They do that.
And they never touched on the husbands, because the husbands had a similar thing going on where it's like, "Oh yeah, we were in school together," and he's like, "Nah, I don't know him."
Because again, I said it
Or
then.
was it that, or they was Facebook friends or something?
Yeah, they were Facebook friends, but they were both a part of like the African Association at the University of Maryland. And again, I said it then, and I'm going to keep saying it. Do you know? Not you, but I'm saying in general. Do you know how many people go to the University of Maryland? Even if they were a part of the African Students Club, there was still probably a couple of hundred of them in that club. And Wendy's husband is older than Ike, so they probably weren't in the same class. So yeah, were they in the club together? Sure. Did they move in the same circles? Probably. But again, were they friends? No. And I don't know about y'all, but I know for me, like on Facebook, when you have people in comment, you click them. Like, "Oh, well, we know 10. We're all a part of the African Student Union at Maryland. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be Facebook friends with him." Like, a lot of us did that, especially when we were first setting up our accounts. When we were first setting up our Facebook, we clicked a lot of people that we had common friends with. I don't do it so much now. I ain't even on Facebook like that now. But I think it wasn't that big of a deal to say, "Oh, well, we were Facebook friends." Who? What? Like, huh? So I really think I took that with a grain of salt when they sat down. Now, if they said they all of them went to Winston-Salem State, and they were a part of the African Union. I'm like, well, that was probably a small group. Like that was because Winston-Salem is a smaller school. And I just use that, no disrespect to anybody that went to Winston-Salem. I'm just thinking of a random school that I know is a smaller school. And they probably had a smaller, African population. So they probably did know each other. But to be at a school like the University of Maryland that has thousands and thousands and thousands of students, like, are you serious right now? But anyway, well, I'm going to say this, you guys. I'm going to sign off. Y'all know I've had a long couple of days. I'm going to go to bed. But I'm going to say this, and then, right, University of Maryland is practically its own city. The club was probably huge. Exactly. So this is the last thing I'm going to say, you guys, about this whole boycott situation. And this is the part that y'all ain't going to like. I love y'all, so when I say this, y'all leave with take it in the spirit of which I say it. The boycott will not be successful because the fans won't leave the show alone. There are some people who walk away. I've seen people in the chat saying that they've walked away. But y'all, as a whole, y'all ain't gonna walk away, because watching these reality shows is almost the same as watching a car crash, right? You get mad that traffic is backed up, but when it's your turn to pass the car crash, you rubbernecking just like everybody else, right? And so people say hashtag boycott the Real Housewives of Potomac, but you're going to want to see what happens next year, right? So I'm going to use this. So here's the example I'm going to use. I had a conversation, and I could say this. I don't know if Scotty would be mad at me for saying this. I don't think he would be. We were talking about we were talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, right? Love and Marriage Huntsville is toxic. Everybody talks about how toxic it is. Everybody talks about Love and Marriage Huntsville this and Love and Marriage Huntsville that. But guess what? Those are some YouTubers' biggest numbers, right? It was easy for me to walk away from Love and Marriage Huntsville because y'all stopped watching my reviews. I wasn't in the algorithm anymore, and I wasn't getting the views. Now, at one point in time, I was getting decent views off of Love and Marriage Huntsville. But when I stopped getting the views, baby, that made it easy to walk away from. But when like Scotty and T, they're in the algorithm, they get really good numbers. So at the end of the day, YouTube is still a business. It's still a business, right? So now the conversation becomes, do I stay and make my money, or do I stop because it's toxic, right? And that I'm not going to tell y'all the conversation me and him had, but we had that conversation this weekend when I saw him this weekend. And it was a conversation we had to have. And I even thought about, well, maybe I'll do Love and Marriage Huntsville again. Like, I even thought about going back because the numbers are there. But the fans create, we're going to boycott, we're going to stop watching. As much as people complain about Carlos, the minute they dropped that trailer for Love and Marriage Huntsville, what happened? They was all running back over there to watch the trailer. They was all running back over there to see what was going on, right? They've already started narratives based off of the picture. Do you know they was making content over that picture that they dropped last week? I was like, how y'all making content over the picture? They mad that Destiny's back. They mad at Stormy because Stormy made body butter or body scrub or whatever the hell that stuff is that Stormy made. She copying off of she copying off of Melody. Like the fan base is crazy. So no, hashtag boycott Real Housewives of Potomac. It ain't gonna last. Let me tell you why it's not gonna last or why it's not gonna work. Well, it's not gonna work anyway. But here's really why it's not gonna work. Because tonight was the last episode. We're not going to get another Real Housewives of Potomac for probably about 6 months, give or take. We probably are not going to see Love and Marriage. I keep saying Love and Marriage. We're not going to see anything as it relates to the Real Housewives of Potomac until probably the holidays, January. Number one, they're not going to start filming. They're going to probably be on pause, just like the Real Housewives of Miami is on pause, just like the Real Housewives of Atlanta was on pause until they could get their cast together. If the rumors are true that Robin got fired and Candace quit, well, Candace did quit, but if they've got to replace those people. So now they got to hire somebody before they can even think about filming. And then once they film, y'all know that we're going to start getting little tidbits. Something going to happen with Mia is going to be in the blogs. Everybody going to talk about it. Something is going to happen with Ashley. It's going to be in the blogs. Everybody going to talk about it. And then when we get the trailer, everybody's going to want to talk about the trailer. Everybody's going to want to talk about it. You know why? Because they done gave everybody 6 months to get over being mad. They didn't give everybody 6 months to get over being mad. Right, Karen and her DUI. That's already a storyline right there. Y'all know they done filmed Wendy's house. I mean, even if they're going to look, even if they got to stage it, you know they're going to talk about Wendy's house getting robbed. Karen has a whole storyline without even trying. Right? So there, and with everything that has been surrounding, especially if it's true about production, if it's true that Eric got fired, you got to find somebody to do the production. Yeah. Don't hold your breath on Potomac coming back anytime soon. And when it does come back, don't hold your breath on anybody hashtagging boycott Real Housewives of Potomac. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I hate to be the one to tell you. It's not going to happen. And Keisha, I believe you, right? Because I do know that there have been some people that really have legitimately stopped watching the show. But I'm not talking about the people who've already said, I'm not doing this. I'm talking about these newfound people that all of a sudden they mad. Like you just getting mad at Giselle? Girl, bye. You weren't mad at Giselle last year when she practically accused Chris of being a sexual deviant? You wasn't mad about that? You wasn't mad when she came after Wendy? Accusing Wendy of getting plastic surgery to keep her husband? Y'all wasn't mad about that? But now y'all mad enough to, okay, all right, well, y'all let me know how that worked out. I think Wendy's coming back. So I'm going to say this and then I'm going to be done. I think Wendy will come back. I think NECA should come back. I would be interested to see if Wendy and NECA, since Wendy says she's willing to work with NECA and film with NECA, I would be interested to see where that goes, right? Karen will be back because Karen, she'll be back. She's going to bullshit her way through this storyline with this DUI, but she'll be back. I think they should bring KK back. I think KK should get another season. I don't think and especially after what happened, I feel like Bravo over that child. Bravo over another season, okay? Even if it's another season of being a friend of the show, I would like to see KK back. I like her. I like her personality. I think she's spunky. And I think I like how she didn't choose sides. I like that. Mia y'all know Mia gonna be back with a whole bullshit storyline now. Mia is going to take over next season. I'm sorry. I know we hate to hear it. I hate to even say that Carlos is right, but Mia is going to take over next season. Her whole storyline is going to take over next season. I'm telling y'all. Y'all ain't gotta like what I'm saying, but I'm telling y'all. Mia and her messy divorce and her boyfriend, because here's what I predict. One, because we know Mia's a stunt queen, and because Mia be lying, I predict that sometime between now and while they're filming, Mia and her boyfriend are going to have a really nasty argument. It's going to be public. They're going to go back and forth on social media, and it's going to conveniently be a part of her storyline. I believe. That's what I believe. That's my opinion, but that's what I believe. Because Mia now has to create the conflict, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me tell you, and I hate to say it like this. The best thing that G did tonight by sharing his diagnosis, he has made himself the sympathetic part of this situation, right? It won't look good if Mia beats up on G. And I don't mean literally. I mean figuratively. It ain't going to look good. Right? But Mia's going to need the conflict. So where does the conflict come? She done already tried to do it with her mama. She done already did it with her best friend. Who's left? This new boyfriend that she's so in love with right now. somewhere between now and the filming, Tracy, clip it. If you still hear Tracy, clip it. So when it happened, I'm gonna play it back. Mia gonna have a public argument with this man of her dreams, her soulmate. It's gonna be on social media and it's gonna get nasty. Now it ain't gonna last, but it's gonna be enough for a storyline. You feel me? All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. I love y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do Martha's Vineyard and the Whether You Like It or Not panel. The season finale for the Whether You Like It or Not panel will be tomorrow on Sakina's channel. Y'all know I'll post the link on my community wall. And we're gonna do the O.J. Simpson documentary. I'll probably start watching that tomorrow night. Or tomorrow, well, Tuesday. Probably Tuesday I'll start watching it. Because I was gonna start tonight, but I'm about to go to bed. All right, you guys. I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.